Hello YouTube. First of all, a shout out to KDP Ross. He's a real modern Renaissance man who shares a few interests of mine. His videos never fail to inspire and fascinate. Check out his channel, link below, and subscribe if you can. This time I want to talk about one of my favorite pen makers, William K Rockman, nowadays better known as Guanleming. More than half a century separate these two pens here, the Model 50 and the Model 103. Some years ago, I've written a couple of articles researching the story of the Rockman company, and it would take ages to retell it here. Besides, the lack of information put my research to a screeching halt. Still, I'll throw in a couple of snippets here and there. William K. Rockman started in New York City in the mid-1920s. They moved to Shanghai just before the Wall Street crash. Finding anything made by them in New York City would indeed be a major achievement. It took a while for Rockman to settle in Shanghai. Once they did, many high-quality pens were made, but they had to rely on imported materials before they could source locally or make their own. The managing director made a secret trip to Japan to learn the techniques of pressure molding of celluloid and the source materials. That was when China and Japan were on a collision course towards total war. This Model 50 from 1936 was made as a result. You can see it's a very small pen, as Type 50 refers to the specification for a small, low-cost pen. The clip appears to be made out of plated copper, apparently, and bears the round draw logo of the company. The pen is a button filler, like most of the other Rockman products, and, well, in fact, most of the pens at the time, but the blind cap and the cap finials are made of ebonite instead, and both have faded somewhat. The nib is untipped steel, common for inexpensive pens at the time, and the feed is also of celluloid like the rest of the pen, which is quite unusual. The stamped marking on the barrel, well, they're getting very faint now, but that's quite common on celluloid barrels. This particular example, it seems, is the only one known to exist. After all, it was made during wartime, and the survival itself is already quite an achievement. Apart from needing its innards to be completely rebuilt, celluloid tends to shrink a bit, so a bit of machining was needed to have it restored, and is now one of my most prized items in my collection. After the war, the Rockman company got lost in a fair rounds of corporate shuffles. The corporate identity still exists in Shanghai, but switched to making watch components, like jewel bearings. But the remnants of the pen-making entity ended up with Hero pens, and soon it got lost again. In 1990, the director of Hero's Changshu branch acquired the brand name, then known as Guanleming in Chinese, to produce pens of higher quality than others made in China. Some astoundingly high-end pens were made, which are still a bit beyond my budget even now, and this Model 103 is one of the more affordable pens in that collection. They also make a black piano lacquer version, but I like the brush steel look better. It is a cartridge converter pen, is massively made, and not heavy enough to be, well, annoying. The level of fit and finish is excellent, and the polished accents are quite appealing as well. Even the converter, properly built in-house, is of exceptional quality and allows the user to service it because the locking collar can be unscrewed. The nib is the only part bearing the round draw logo in its third and final form. And the design of the nib is actually quite interesting with curves and scoops and holes on the edges. Writing experience is more than satisfactory. It's smooth on all kinds of paper with just the right amount of feedback. The only problem is the printing on the cap that makes it look a little bit messy, but it can be removed with a fingernail to make it the way William himself would have wanted it. The Changsu works ceased operation in 2002, so pens bearing the Rockman Guanleming brand is no longer in serial production. The last one made is probably the model 2001, with the clear demonstrator. Even then, it is hard to get nowadays. I hope this is of interest. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll be back with more new content very soon. Bye for now.